What's going on, guys? HitPaws here with a quick tutorial on something that I found fairly useful that I just barely tried to implement. I'm going to show what I'm talking about here. Basically, I have characters that are aligning to the ground. Right now, they're not actually doing it. It's turned off. And as you can see, like if I follow one of these spiders around, as he walks, he just stays horizontal, like perfectly horizontal. It really doesn't matter what surface he's on. So he'll end up, like in cases like this. Now this right here actually won't change because I'm not doing IK on their feet or anything like that. But what I want to do is just a fairly simple just ground alignment to the mesh so that they just tilt to the correct angle. And that's what I'm going to show you guys how to do. So there it is with it off. And here it is with it on. Now the way I got it working right now is I got it on a timer doing it every half second. So it's not very fast. So and it's actually very noticeable when it's happening. And I'm not keeping it that way for now just to illustrate, but I may try to smooth it out some. So here he is now, and as you can see, he now actually aligns and tilts towards the ground. His feet, they're not going to be perfect because, like I said, he's still just animating. But you will see, and you can also see that in between the 5-second delays isn't always when he actually crests a peak or anything like that. So you see that there's some delays. Now it's not horrible when he's moving around. I know I'm moving around really fast and that this is Camtasia and it's not really updating very fast. I know that that's probably lagging. But he is in fact actually updating. But like I said, there's small delays. Like if he breaches that and wants to change angle, see, he cruised over this and he was raised up, and he essentially did like a wheelie coming down because it was within that 0.5-second delay there, which I could very well just turn back up, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to show you guys how it's done. It's not the easiest thing, but if you just follow this, you should be okay. So the essential theory is we're going to drive a line trace straight down from the character and figure out what the impact normal is of that. Okay, all this right here is just fluff. I just make an array and then throw self in there just so it won't trace against itself. And all we do is get the actor location and then we subtract however far down. I just said 150 in the Z. We do the visibility channel. This is line trace, single line trace by channel. As long as we do hit something, we break the impact normal. Now, what we want to do is we want to basically end up with a world rotation for the mesh. Now, essentially, the only thing we need is actually the pitch and the roll. The yaw we want to maintain. So the very first thing that we're actually grabbing from here, again, if a break, if the hit is true, we break the result, we grabbing impact normal. The first thing that we're actually grabbing isn't this is actually coming later, it should be there. But we're actually just grabbing the world rotation from the mesh, get world rotation, okay? And then to get it like this, all you do is just right click and say split the struct pin, okay? And then it'll split it into the XYZ roll pitch yaw for you, and that's what I did. Alright, and I just take the yaw because I want to pass the yaw straight through when I make a rotator. Okay, then what I want to do is I want to figure out now the pitch, and the way to do that, I could draw this in Photoshop, might make this a little bit easier to understand, but essentially what we're doing is we're getting the Y and Z from the impact normal and we're splitting them apart into Y and Z, but we use the right vector from the mesh so we know which way he was going, at what his up kind of it actually is going to kind of give us like a relation to in a way to his up vector, but it tells us basically which way is pointing to the right, so we use that for Y, and we always take the Z from the impact normal, and that's all we use the impact normal for, is for the Z. And because we don't care about the yaw, right, we're not doing a ZZ, okay, we're just doing XZ and YZ, so that's how to remember it, right? You need all three axes, but we need Z in both of them, right? So we combine those, and then so for the pitch is the right vector in Y, and for the roll is the forward vector, because remember a forward vector, let's go here, right now he's in fly mode, but his forward vector is down the X, so if we rotate down that, we roll him, right? if we rotate on that axis. On the x-axis here, we're rolling him. Okay. And then essentially at this point you don't have to do this. If you run this faster, say like on tick, which I kind of don't suggest if you're going to run a lot of them, I suggest keeping tick even turned off. You can always go to self and uncheck start with tick enabled if you're unsure about it, and that way you can actually even have some debug stuff here, because if you notice here, I just was trying to print to see whether or not I could even read the angular velocity, so I threw it on tick. I could even hook this up now, and it's not going to run because tick's deactivated, but I'll just keep it unchecked anyway. So I'm using a timer on begin play, and again, I could very well make this run very, very fast. Now what I did to smooth it out, basically, because right, I'm setting an interval that's longer than fluid, right? It's now staggered, stutter stepped. So to make up for it, what I did was a timeline, a very simple one here, with a very short length of half a second that just ramps a value from 0 to 1. Now I kept it auto right here, but linear might actually be better. And I won't really, I'll just have to kind of look at it. In any case, it might be better to ease him maybe out of it like that, and then have him speed into it. I really don't know what's going to be the best. Here, I'm just going to have to keep trying them. But for now, I'll try linear. And that's so I just run a I play this from the start every time I run this, because what we do is we use a lerp, right, which basically just takes any two values and will ramp one to the next one based on the percentage here, right? So if this is 5 and this is 10 and this is at 0.5, we're currently at 7.5 because we're halfway between 5 and 10, right? So whatever this rotation is in the beginning, straight from the mesh, whatever his rotation is right now, we're going to keep lerping it towards this rotation that we've created based on the impact normal and the mesh, the current mesh. Okay. If you just try to do something like this, where you just say make rot from Z, you don't actually have enough information. That's why you need to capture the other axes from the mesh too, so you have that relationship. That's why this won't work. What this will give you is the spider will be I'll just use an ant here as an example, but essentially when he's on here, he may fix his pitch correctly, but then he might do the yaw, like the roll. Let's go by local here, like that. He might do it this way, so you get a lot of them moving around like this on the surface, and that's not good, because like I said, it's not enough information. Just the Z alone isn't good. We need to reference against the Z and the Y. If we have that, we have now a perpendicular line, which gives us a guaranteed third line coming straight out to be on axis. Okay, with just one axis, you don't know at where the other axes are. Let me turn this off. So when I turn this around, like if I'm just Z, I don't know, this could be anything, right? This actually can't still be anything, but it's still not enough, because you still need to know which way he's going, like left and right, right? My explanation is terrible, but just know that if you're gonna do it like this. Try not to run it too fast. I would say do something to smooth out like a predictive type method instead of just set on tick. I think that's too heavy. The calculations I don't think are insanely crazy, but it is a trace. It is a check. It is a calculation here, and it is also a pseudo tick, right? A timeline here. So there's a bit going on. So if you were to spawn a lot of these, see, let me try. Let's at this point the tutorial's over. If you want to stick around, for some experimentation, which I'm about to do, feel free. I'm not. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to copy everything, just compile and save. And I'm going to get it onto my ants as well, because I have a lot more ants spawning than spiders, and they're actually significantly less complicated than the spiders are in terms of their behavior and behavior tree. Everything you see here is in fact event driven. Even the rotation, again, I just use timelines to circumvent tick, and everything else is just a one-off thing. There's very few for looping going on or anything like that. So I'm just going to paste this over here, and basically I don't think I ever really captured a variable, and I think everything is good to just hit compile, but I might get something weird. No, it should work. Okay, so the ants and the spiders are now doing it. Now, just so we can see, the ant spawner is set to spawn 200 AI. That's a lot. The spider spawner is set to spawn 10. Okay, so not as many, but I'm going to keep him going too. And what we're going to do is show FPS, and then we're going to start simulating, and we'll just get a general idea. I hit G here for how things are gonna progress. You can see that the map alone is taking up some stuff. I mean, I got kind of a lot of things going on here anyway, and I'm still gonna push it hard. Now my system specs for this, because it does matter. Let me open this GeForce Experience thing, and hopefully that doesn't take 6 months, because sometimes it does. But my specs are fairly humble, but at the same time they're okay. Alright, so I got a Titan. It's a 6 gig, not a 12. I have an 8 core AMD, 32 gigs of RAM, yada yada yada. Okay, so the Titan is giving me a boost, but again, it's not the Titan X, it's the 6 gig version, and I think my processor's fairly okay, and the RAM's, you know, about half of what it could be, or about, I'd say about half average, and about a millionth of what it could be, obviously, but you know what I'm saying. 32 gigs is a little bit low, and it's DDR4 at 3200 or something like that, or maybe I got that crazy off. Maybe it's 1800. I don't know, whatever. But let's see what happens. So we got some spiders going. The ants don't seem to be working. Ah, that's why, because that's a begin play copy. Might have it already done. I do. Okay, so I got begin play over there. I just need to pull this over here. It should work with them now. I think my FPS is going to take a dive. There they go. Now they're aligning. See? And it's fairly good. And at this, interval at 0.1, it feels fairly natural. And it's just aligning the mesh. It's not doing the capsule. And it's not bad. It's really not that bad. FPS... Let's see. Let me stop moving the camera around. Let me hit escape and just leave it. It's in the shitter, right? It's in the red. So let's make no mistake. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. So let's say we're averaging. Let's just say we're between 10 and 20, right? I haven't really seen it get up and over. To be honest, the ants aren't even spawned yet. And I know a bunch of them are stuck. I can even see one stuck right now. That breaks things down. Once he frees himself, it'll free up. There are 200 ants, and they're all coming. They're everywhere. Okay, they're literally everywhere. It's laggy. I'm pushing the system here. I'm not spawning 200 in the game or anything. I'm not being stupid, but for now, the test is there. From way out here, I'm getting. It's about the same. Let's just say we're roughly around 14. I think 14's hit my eyeballs enough to say it's somewhere around there. Now let's turn this shit off and let's see if it does anything. Don't even run that. And don't even run that. Now that was 210 AI to 211 if you count the B, but he's really not AI right now. He's just turns randomly and moves forward randomly. That's it. And checks if he's within a radius of his spawn point. That's it. So we haven't spawned them all yet or nothing. So just give it a sec. But FPS already double. So they're not aligning anymore or doing anything, and you can see that the FPS is fairly high compared to what it was. It's 10 over almost. And it's getting lower and lower and lower as more spawn, but now we're in the red. I got them printing when they get blocked, so every time that happens it's a bit of a hiccup. Like I said, I got too many of them coming, but I want to test, stress test. 18. We may in the end, in the long run, we may be only eating about 3-4 FPS with the whole thing. Again, I did push the ant on a much faster loop than the spider. So let's try it 0.5. Now the other thing too is you could there's probably another check that could be done here, and that would be kind of like a relevancy check. If I really wish there was a way to say is being rendered, you know what I'm saying? Like just let me know that, you know, because if we're not being rendered, if we're being either occluded or we're off camera, we shouldn't be processing our mesh, right? And we shouldn't do this, obviously, also. So only when we see him, and maybe also only when we're close enough. That might be another idea too. I mean, it could be fairly easy here to say, am I close enough? But the question is what if the ant's far away for a really long time? It's a little silly to keep checking if he's close to me. So what do you do though? You know? What do you really do? Because how am I going to tell, unless I put a super huge overlap volume that only overlaps pawns or something on it, and if you're out of that, then it would at least be by event. It wouldn't have to constantly check. That's my worry. I don't want to constantly keep doing this if I don't need to, but I really need to solidify when and where I turn this thing off and on, because otherwise it's just not going to work. I'll come into play and it won't know it. You know, I'll come into distance and it won't know, unless somebody's checking that or something gets triggered. But I don't like the idea of having a fucking 5,000 radius sphere on here, you know? I can't imagine that that's performant. But I'm not sure. Maybe it is. Maybe it's fine because it is event driven. Maybe it'll just sit there. Maybe it doesn't give a shit. Or maybe it's constantly overlapping the whole freaking game at all times and siphoning through. Because I know there's you know, collisions and all that stuff, but it's still gotta be like, hey, I hit you, oh, you're the wrong collision, right? It's gotta know that it's the wrong collision. Ignore it. So yeah, a humongous sphere is gonna overlap so many things. I don't like it. Even if it's not told to register those types, it's still gonna have to filter them out. And it'll be like frickin' thousands of them at a time. It can't be good. It can't be good. I'm probably wrong, but my head won't let me do it, so I'm not doing that. We gotta do something different. The simple distance is really easy. Could say get horizontal distance. Is that cheaper? Now here's the other problem too, you know? Which one? Because here's the thing, this kind of thing right here, this does not want to run on a server. This should be local. So to be honest, I don't know how the I guess you have to do this either in the game mode or the game state to know that this is you. Because what if I'm the 5th player in? I ain't player 0. Right? That's what I don't like about that. There needs to be like index -1 would just be, it'll run on whoever the hell his computer is playing right now. Right? It should just be like you. Get player, which would be you. Not me, or you know what I'm saying? Me when I'm playing. But if we're both in the game, it should give you to you, and it should give me to me. Not you're gonna get me as well. Like if I'm the first one in and you're the second one in, you're gonna, everything that you try to run on player 0 is gonna go right to me and happen to me. I'll get all your goddamn experience points. Maybe I should just set it up that way. But that's not good because then I have to play with everybody every time. I don't know, 1500 right now? That might be a good number. Let's give that a try. Well, hang on. Well, actually, I should be getting a shit ton of errors, but none of them should be doing it. Did I do that to the ant or the spider? I suppose if this is not valid, okay, so any of them that get near him should be doing it, and any of the ones that don't shouldn't. Are you doing it? You're doing it. You're doing it. What about you guys way out here? Oh, they're getting stuck. I gotta fix that. Shit, I didn't even notice. Over here too. Damn, there's a whole corner I broke. I had to adjust something earlier. But I know they can get in some places. They're probably stuck here too. Well, we got a few of them. Yeah, he's not doing it. I'm just going to track him. He should go towards the food, so I'm pretty sure there's still some food left. It is first come, first serve. No, well, one of his foods got taken, now he's going for a different one. Whichever one he was after got taken. Now, I think he's aligning now. Is he? No. No, he's not. Not yet. Come on, don't. Nope, yep, there's more food, dude. Don't get so discouraged. Alright, he should kick in fairly soon. Not yet, I don't think. There he goes. There he goes. There he goes. I just saw him tilt. Now he's tilting. Yeah. Now he's doing it. And he should tilt up this hill if he goes up the hill. No, there's no more food. They all got it. Yeah. And now that he's near me, he's tilting. FPF's still in the crapper. So it's not helping much in that regard. What did I did slow it down, but like I said, there's tons of them in there. The other thing that you could do would be to not use this. It's real snappy when you do it this way, though. Real snappy. This is almost the most efficient thing I can think of besides tick. But I think if I put this on tick, FPS will just go down to like 1. But with only a few of them, it does run fine. You know, I mean, in most cases, I kind of want to keep the numbers of them down anyway. But that's no reason. So I'm not sure if there's anything else I could shave off this, other than just not run it. At which point, you know, I don't gain too much FPS back. But there's a lot of things that I'm doing in the map that are eating FPS. You can see I'm not getting 120 here like I would if it was empty, right? I've got skylight casting shadows, which is heavy as hell. I've got light propagation volume, which is semi-heavy. Ambient, whatever, distance field stuff going on, that's actually heavier than not having it. For the for the AO stuff, the distance field AO, that's how I can get this stuff lit up back here. There's really only one light and a very low ambient cube map. The ambient cube map's contributing about that right there, about that brightness. As you can see, it's not very bright. Everything else is, you know, light propagation volumes and shit. So, and there's a 50,000 poly tree, 2 terrains, about 1,000 pieces of foliage, not too much foliage. I mean, there's these weapons here that are, you know, they're kind of high poly, like 10k each, but that's not really adding much, I don't think. The cheese is just sitting there as actors. It really is, you know, even without the spawners. Ants. If I go to the ant spawner, I can just turn it off. And then the spider spawner, and just turn that off. So I got the bee in here, so I get like 40 without them, without anything going on. The instant that a bee spawns, I mean, the bee is killed, the next one spawns. Oh, he's not hurting me. You put a decal right there? I have the bees, they're the only ones that are set so that if you, I think if you leave the ragdoll it disappears, but if you keep, every time you hit it, it resets the timer. Which I thought was kind of cool, but I'm not going to keep that or not. Oops. Spawn camper. They're super easy to dodge right now. They got no behavior. These were one of the first things I did in rats, actually. It's funny. I'm over here just shooting them for no reason. Ah, that would have been perfect, but the ragdoll spazzed. Okay, so... Okay, with just the ants, and not bothering with the ground correction. $200 ants. I'm not doing any of this in C++ either. I think if I move some of this stuff over there, I probably would be better off, but I'll be honest, I don't know how to do that, so there. I'm just going to kind of monitor FPS here. They're not, like I said, they're not doing the correction. There's not too many of them spawned. If I spawn them too fast, they just don't have enough time to move out of the way, and they kick each other under the ground instead of not spawning. So I gotta figure out some better methodology here. But we should see the FPS just pretty steadily go down and down and down and down and down. Yep, okay, we hit the red. Fairly stable at around 20 here until I move the camera and it goes down. I think when I let go it comes back up. There we go. So 21, 20, 21, something around there, dipping down into the red fairly often, but not going way down, like really never going below 18, really ticking on 18 at the best, hovering on 19 more than anything. So 19, 20, 21. The fact is, the way I have it set up, with a half-second timer, timeline, and a half-second refresh, I'm essentially just ticking them. Right? I am essentially ticking them. Because I restart the timer the moment that it ends. The timer runs as fast as it can possibly go. But we'll see. I think once all nav and all that stuff's repaired, it might go a little bit lower this time due to the fact that they're probably none of them are correcting, or they all are. Well, we were at 19 before, 19. Now we're dipping to 16 here. Probably gonna drop to 16 because I'm starting to see 15. But we seem to be doing the 19-20 dance here down at 16 and 17. So 3. For 200 of them, it costs 3 FPS. Now, FPS is a isn't a very good thing to test. I know how much the damn ants are doing, right? I don't really need to go deep into the data and see the milliseconds and all that shit. I know it's high. But whether or not it's worth it is the other thing. Now we're dancing between 15 and 16. So as time goes on, and as time goes on, they're going to run out of shit to do. That's the other thing. Right now they have food. The only reason that a lot of them aren't really making it to the food is because of my bump correction is actually too simple and aggressive. You hit each other, one of you is going to turn around, no matter what. So you can see that interaction happening everywhere. Any ant you watch, he bumps into another one, either him or the other ant turns around and goes the opposite direction for a couple of steps and then goes back to where he was going. So it actually becomes very difficult for a large group of them to meet and get something done. And so I don't like it. The idea is, what I'm going to do is when they bump, if they are facing relatively the same direction, if they're going roughly in the same direction, one of them is just going to match the other one's direction, and they're just going to walk together. And then if not, then I'll go back to one of them is going to get out of the way. If they're and it's easy. I can just get a delta between their facing their forward vectors, and if it's over 45 or something, then they're going completely opposite directions, and they need to make a more drastic move like I'm doing. But otherwise, because what happens is we also get this factor here. These guys, because this asshole right here is stuck, these guys are just going to continuously bounce off of him. Now the way it works right now is it's weighted in that if the ant has food, he has right of way. Why is his mouth open? It's like he's in attack mode. But yeah, but if they both have food, then it's a weighted system, and the weighted system is simple. Weight. It's a random float between 0 and 9,000, which also has decimal points. The odds of any two ants having the same exact weight are astronomically impossible, in fact. I actually almost think that the system won't let it happen. But it could. It may even force it to happen, actually. Because that's the thing about random numbers in the computer. The algorithm that they actually use for it is... A, not random. B, it cheats. It's programmed to give the illusion of randomness, but it is in fact not random. Because in true random factor, it is actually possible to, given a flip of a coin, it is possible, it's inarguably possible, that that coin land on heads permanently from now on. It's possible, even though it's random. 50-50 chance, given that it can land on heads, it can land on heads every time. If it can do it once, it can do it every time. Will it? Fuck no. No way. But it can. So the computer says no, it can't. Now, that's why it's not true random. But if you do a random number between 0 and... Like if you did a random number between 0 and 10 and let it run 1,000,000 times, you'd have almost an exactly equal number of those. But in the real world, you would not. You would have a fucking spidered mess of complete, random, unusable data in the real world. If it were truly universally random, it would be. So we fake it. Again, like I said, there is a chance that they end up with the same weight, but most likely not. And I'll just weigh the weight. Whenever the bump occurs, essentially we do a simple check. You got food? Right? Do I have food? If I have food, we go to the weight. If I don't have food and you don't have food, we go to the weight. But if you have food and I don't do anything. Right? So I have food, you have food, we go to the weight. I have food, you don't have food. I have the right of way, which means I don't tell myself that I just got bumped. You tell yourself, because your weight's going to come back negative. Because it's going to be the opposite for you, right? You don't have food, and I do. True? I'm out of the way. Straight to out of the way. So otherwise, we use the weight. But here, like I said, is where I need to fix on hit. I need to fix, because he runs away from the point that he bumped into. This probably bumped index. Yeah, that works later, because you can kill sandbags with the ants, which I haven't revealed it yet. That's okay. Yeah, so I think what I want to do, get the forward vector, get actor rotation so that I can get forward vector off of you. It's a rotator, not vector. Dang it. Actually, here, I don't even need to do that. Boom, boom. Copy that. We'll plug that in like so. Delta rotator. we want, there's no absolute value of a rotator, but that's okay. We can split the struct pin here. And now we can just absolute value that. Okay. We actually really don't give two shits between these two. We really just care about the yaw. So, as long as that is less than or equal to some number, you're good. Let's try 45 for now. Don't make the correction. Because remember, this is whether or not the particular ant, it's hard to explain, but this is whether or not the particular ant is going to correct himself. Okay, that's a decision he's making. Am I going to correct myself? Now each ant makes that decision for themselves. So what happens is, essentially, if his target is, you know, between these two, they should both come up with the same exact answer here, both of them. Okay, so they're both, well, yeah, they're both not going to do it, which could cause them to collide in a small enough angle so they do get stuck still. So I want to go through, I want to give them the same, a new direction, essentially. That sets the target location. You got bumped. Set bumped. That's going to set pass up to the blackboard, essentially. That's all that really does. So it sets that he was bumped, and then he sets who the other bumped is. Now, the blackboard has a bump correction on it. And you'll notice here that this wouldn't make sense, and it hasn't come up yet. Let's see, I'm printing movement results, which I don't need to do anymore. Okay, so here's what I'm doing right now. The bump correction is doing a look at between the two actors, starting with the other actor coming towards me, right? And then tells me which way he's pointing, gives that about a distance in there, a minimum between 100 and something else, 150, okay, and then he sets that to be the destination. Now in this case, what I want to do is this. I want him to not set the location to be directly away from two ants. Here's how I want it to work. Hopefully I can do it this way. But essentially, we got two ants here. Like so. Okay. And what I want to have happen is when he comes in like this, okay, and goes bump. Now normally he's going to try to walk over to here. His goal is going to be directly away from the two points, so he's going to want to, I really wish that these fucking gizmos were easier to use. He's going to want to go over to here right now. Where in reality, if this ant goes here, I kind of want this ant to go here. Either that or follow in line behind him. But I kind of for now just want to do this. So what I want to do is take whoever has the highest weight and make his direction be the new direction. Okay, which should actually get him going in fairly the same direction that he's going anyway. So let's try that. So what I do, the other bumped, Okay, can I just get the forward vector straight off that? Yeah, get actor forward vector. I don't have to get his rotation. And then I am going to do this in the multiply, but the destination is actually going to be my own location here plus that direction, his direction. However far out is this multiplication here, the distance. But again, I'm using his direction, so I don't want this shit anymore. So, yep, hit my own start location plus the other guy's forward vector multiplied down to here. Yes, I did say that. Multiplicated and multiplied at the same time, if anybody was wondering. Multiplied. Alright. However, and then we took into account the weight. Hang on. So, if we are within that, we want to come to here. This is the kind of end result that we want to do. We make sure he can't be bumped more than once per second. And we need to go to the weight table. Yeah, essentially we go straight to the weight table. Now otherwise, I might have messed up a little bit. Let's see how this. Let's just see how this works. Let's just get a feel for how they're bumping around. Whoa. Like I said, they should now go with each other. Some of them are going away. That's new. They all are supposed to be going for the cheese. Doesn't have food, no enemy, he's not in melee range, he's not attacking, he's not bumped. There's no other thing. You should be choosing food, of which there is a plenty. I'm not sure why other bumped. And character PC98 is who he's bumped. Him? Fucking him. C40. I don't get it. They're like bumping into each other from 2,000 miles away now. Oh shit, I can't do this. I can't go to here because this relies on the target, which relies on the cast, and if I circumvent the cast if I go true. So, this in fact needs to go here. No, wait. So I got a cast. Okay, if the cast failed, I don't care. But if it didn't fail, I still want to come up here. Otherwise, I go to there. Okay, so we cast now. We're greater, so we don't care, but we're true, so we go. This doesn't actually do me any good. This is actually I didn't even need to do this shit, the delta shit, because I'm not doing anything different here. If I give him the information, I should. If I had kept the original way of saying, okay, you know, but that's the thing. I don't really want to send too much to here to the blueprint, so I'm not sure what to do. I really don't. I don't need this fucking branch at all. I don't need any of this shit. Let's skip it for now. It's not doing any good. It's not doing anything. Okay, how about this? How about at least, at the very least, so if we're less than that, if our deltas, you know, if we're within 45 degrees, we go in the same direction, let's not correct either one of us. Now let's see how that feels. Maybe that'll actually be okay. So these two, if they bump, they shouldn't correct, but I don't know if they're gonna. The FPS is down as long as I'm holding the right click. I still get a whole bunch of them. They're going just the wrong way. How the fuck am I supposed to know? I wish it was just the one I had picked. He disappeared. Oh, he's over there. 326. Now he wants to go get food? We gotta go all the way home? Something's going wrong with bump correct. A whole bunch of them are walking away from the food. Like they're getting bumped over and over again. This guy should not turn around until he gets to food. Well, why did he turn around? I think he's got bumped too. Target is cheese. He should end up with has food. He makes it. Yeah. Now he's got food. But yeah, a bunch of them are acting real strange. Here's the reason why it sucks to have both of them not do it, but those two should have hit each other and waited, because their deltas should have been different. But in this case we have a problem because he's stuck and he's not going to correct. Yeah, he's not able to get within the radius of this spawn point. I'm actually changing the way that they're going to return the food. I'm going to put a trigger radius and they're going to go into that, and that's going to trigger it. No more based on whether or not they correctly get within the radius and using the nav mesh success to determine that they've picked up food. It's unreliable if they get stuck, because a lot of times they actually make it there just fine, but it's not registering something and they just sit there. They don't put the food down. And I don't know what it is. I really don't. So I'm gonna do a trigger to get that to solve. So that what it'll do is it'll just be like, okay, an ant walked in, he's got food, tell him to drop it, and tell him to just drop it. Tell him success. You know, just shoot that message all the way through and have him do what he does with that message anyway. That's it. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video here because I don't know. I think the bump correction's okay, but I'm not running it right now, am I? Well, I am. I mean the not bump correction, but the ground alignment. Like I said, it doesn't hurt that much. This is hurting more than anything, but it really gross. It might be... Yeah, you kind of have to say play from start if you're going to use it at all. Because if you don't, if you just say play, then the next time you hit play, it doesn't do anything. Right? Play goes to here, and you say play again, it's like, I'm already done, dude. Play from start starts it over. So, kind of have to do that. But like I said, I got rid of it for now. But what we're going to see is some fairly ugly behavior here. It's going to be kind of gross looking, I think. In fact, it's not even doing it, is it? Oh, well, yeah, hang on. Let's bypass that. Now it'll do it. Trying to lerp it to itself. Now it's going to be real ticky. You'll see. Tick, tick. See. Every half second. Tick, tick, tick. Yeah, it's fairly ticky. I mean, I can see it happening. You know, I'll be honest with you though, it's not as abrasive as I thought it would be. It's very obviously, yes, it's just setting it every half second, but maybe the FPS will actually recover from this. Because like I said, running a half-second timeline on a half-second timer is just running it permanently. But that's how I set it up, because I figured I'd be just trying to get out of tick. But maybe it'd be better to use tick on an interval. At 0.5 is really bad for this. I mean, you could do some math to say, hey, as it gets closer, let's increase this interval. So it's updating fairly close, and from a distance, it's not very often. And then after a certain distance, it just doesn't even do it. I mean, you could do that. You'll notice here that since I'm not using the timeline, though, that I'm back up into the 20s. And I'm even in the game now. I mean, if I look in certain directions, I'm sure I can make it eat crap, but... And I'm sure it's not going to go very well if I start lobbing grenades everywhere, but I wouldn't do that. Oh, dude, did I piss you guys off? Sorry. Jeez. It's alright, though. Oh, weird. Oh, you know what? They gotta stop doing this, don't they? When they dead? See that? Look at dude, he's pissed. Yeah, they gotta stop it when they're dead. See? I didn't realize that. Okay, well, let's just do it like this. Come on. There we go. So he'll stop doing that when he dies. The spiders won't yet, but I'll fix that later. Not a big deal. I think I'm okay for now. But this is it. I'll sign off. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next one.